You want to have your mind blown real quick? If so, stay and listen to this.
All right, let's see it. And the fit today is a black and white version of Jim Lee's X-Men number 11.
So we're going to read out of Matthew chapter 12, verse 39. It says, "Only an evil and adulterous generation would demand a miraculous sign, but the only sign I will give them is the sign of the prophet Jonah." Watch this. Well, what's the sign of Jonah, you may ask?
Well, if you read the rest of the sentence, Jesus explains, just as Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, which turned out to just be a rough approximation, since according to the Gospels, Jesus was only dead for 2 nights before resurrecting.
And we all know how this generation is evil and adulterous by far, if you have common sense and rational thinking.
And you have never been a part of, much less studied, any other generation. But this part of the Gospel of Mark is very clearly and explicitly about Jesus' own generation, and it's not a prophecy about a future generation. And again, if it were a prophecy about a future generation, Jesus explains explicitly what the sign of Jonah is. It refers to the Son of Man being dead for 3 days and 3 nights, which again is just an approximate prophecy, because Jesus has approximate knowledge of many things.
But anyways, what I'm getting at, this right here is the 2017 solar eclipse. This right here is the 2024 solar eclipse. That's the path it's going to be making. It's going to be making an X over the United States. 2017 was 7 years ago, and the next one is 7 years later, which is going to be here in a month. And we all know how the number 7 always pops up in the Bible.
I've actually been getting a lot of questions recently about the significance of the number 7, and I would not be able to explain it any better than my friend Andrew Mark Henry with Religion for Breakfast, who just published a video on the significance of the number 7.
But it just so happens that the 2024 one is going to be going through some towns named Nineveh. Nineveh, Texas, Nineveh, Missouri, Nineveh, Indiana, Nineveh, Ohio, Nineveh, Pennsylvania, Nineveh, Virginia, Nineveh, New York, and Nineveh, Nova Scotia.
No, it's not. If you looked at that map, you would see that neither of those 2 eclipses actually comes near the state of Virginia, so neither of them is crossing over the town of Nineveh, Virginia. So for those of you who still need help thinking critically and Googling competently, if you had bothered to look up any of these towns, you would see that they are located at the red dots that I have placed over the map that this creator is using. And you can see that the eclipse actually only passes over 2 towns called Nineveh in Indiana and Ohio. So it turns out you can make this stuff up, because these people did make this stuff up.
Also, this number X is the Tav in the Hebrew alphabet.
Well, you've just arbitrarily isolated the paths of 2 different eclipses, and no, that is not a Tav.
You need to wake up, take your head out of the sand, face facts. Yes, we're in the end times. I don't care what you say. You better give your life to Jesus. Deuces.
Let this be a reminder. Think critically, Google competently.
Well, Dan beat me to that video. So that was a video that somebody else had sent me, as far as the original video that someone sent me based on this gentleman talking about the eclipse and his very low understanding of Hebrew, as well as his low understanding of the Bible itself. And I mean that in the sense that he only understands what he's been told. He has not done any actually critical thinking concerning the Bible, nor has he done any, I forgot the term that Dan just used, but he didn't use any, good Google research. Many people will come on and say that, oh, Google, you can't Google it. Google is not trustworthy. It depends on how you research and how you use Google, the type of questions that you use, how many pages you scroll down, evaluating and deciphering the source of the Google page that's delivering their information. That is actually utilizing Google in a way that it should be utilized, because there are some BS information on there, and yet there are some great information on there as well. So you have to competently use Google in such a way that it is beneficial to you finding out the absolute, more of the truth. I'm going to say absolute truth, but more of the truth. And the young man, basically what he did was he took the video more than likely from this other young lady who did a video about the moon and how the moon is rusting, which will make it red. But she took a Photoshop version of the moon where people had added color to it in order to make it look that way. And she is the first video that I saw that had the whole passing over these cities of Nineveh, that the eclipse actually does not go across. And he just accepted her information without doing any research of his own. And that is why that creator should not be a trusted creator. But my guy Dan McClellan, he beat me to the video demonstrating that Jesus was only in the grave, according to your Bible, for 2 days. Christians have jumped through some serious mental gymnastics in order to make him in the grave for 3 days so that it fits into the Jonah story, to which we know it does not. You can easily decipher how it is not 3 days. So for those who believe that it is, you're just fooling yourself. Think about it. If he went into the grave on a Friday night, right, the Passover, which would be Friday after 6 p.m., right, the next one day would be Saturday after 6 p.m. Day 2 would be Sunday after 6 p.m. Day 3 would be Monday after 6 p.m. Therefore, 3 days and then he rises from the grave, to which it would have been in the morning is when that would have happened. That would have been a Tuesday morning. So therefore, it wouldn't be Tuesday. The reason why you have a Sunday worship and they try to force it from Friday to Sunday to be the 3 days is because Constantine at the Council of Nicaea demanded that the Christians worship on a Sunday, which was the same day that the worshippers of Mithra and the worshippers of Apollo and the worshipper of Sol Invictus had their holy day, was on a Sunday. He wanted Christianity to come in line with the Roman Empire, because one of the problems that the Roman empires had with the Jews and the Christians is that they wanted their worship today to be sundown Friday night to sundown Saturday, which interfered with Roman commerce and also with Romans who held slaves of those beliefs and them wanting to not work on those days, and then the Romans having their holy day on Sunday. That was a conflict. And the Roman emperor's job is to minimize conflicts within the Roman Empire to hold the empire together. Constantine was never a Christian. He was baptized post-mortem at the request of his mother, who she was a Christian. She had converted to Christianity and given lots of money to Christianity so that they can build temples, and that's only to the Orthodox, so that they can build their temples and grow in power in the way that they did grow. But these creators who just make up shit to try to utilize fear to get people to come over to their religion, there's warnings against them. They are truly what the Bible called the many false prophets and false messiahs and antichrists that will come, because they're teaching a message that is not even within the realms of their book, and we know how incredibly misguided their book is. So y'all have a great day, and remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.